Well, it's a crunch time in the Australian Baseball League with just 1 week remaining in the regular season. All the playoff spots are signed up, except for one. The equation is very simple. The Auckland Tuatara must win as many games as the Canberra Cavalry, and they are through. But it's been an interesting season for the Tuatara. Big wins followed up by tough losses and a fair few games rained out. The good news is the weekend's weather forecast is looking promising, which I'm sure is pretty good news for our guest this morning in Auckland Tuatara manager Steve Mintz. Good morning, Steve. Thanks for joining the show again.
Absolutely, man.
I'm going really good, and you guys are going good because you've given yourselves a chance to go to the big dance. But it's going to be tough against Canberra this weekend. Tell us about the prospects you've got coming up.
Yeah, well, we feel good for where we're at. One of the things that's kind of handcuffed us all year is the our stadium over here at North Harbour Stadium. Like for whatever reason, again this week, they won't let us get on the field and train. We have to go and do training elsewhere, and so we can't do our stuff that we need to do on our stadium. And they have been they have fought us tooth and nail. So we've had to. We were going to train there today, and we got told, so we got to go somewhere else and get our training. But the people over there at North Harbour have tried to make it as hard on us as they can. I can tell you that. And so again this week, we can't go to the stadium and get our training in, so we're going to go do it somewhere else to try to get ready for Canberra this weekend.
Well, I find that quite bizarre, actually. Has there been issues throughout the season, or is the ground or is the stadium, the diamond, etc., is it under pressure from weather conditions?
No, it's not under pressure from anything. Actually, the teams that come here and play, they actually get on the field as much as we do most weeks when they come into town. But the field crew and the stadium operations people over there, they have just I can't explain it. We pay money to have the field put together. We pay money to lease it, and then they refuse to let us get on it. And it has been that's been our biggest challenge all year long. I mean, from the traveling, the playing, the rain, and everything. The North Harbour people, they have been that has been our biggest challenge all year long, and I can't put a finger on it. It's so frustrating to me that I have to call and tell my team that we have to go and train somewhere else, that we can't actually train on the stadium, the field that we actually play the games on. And you know me, you've talked to me enough. I don't make a lot of excuses for anything that we do, but those people over there, it has been one headache, one frustration after another since November.
Can't understand it. I simply can't understand it. But we've still, as you will know, you proceed whatever's in front of you, Steve, and you've done a great job building this franchise in the first place. And of course, when I say you're up against Canberra on the points table, but they're not your physical opponents this weekend. You've got a very, very tough task ahead of you in Brisbane.
Yeah, we do. They're top of the table, top of the whole league. And but when we played them the first round of the season, we didn't play very well. We walked a bunch of people, we left a bunch of people on base, and we've gotten better. We've learned some things about ourselves, but we're gonna have to play really, really good baseball this weekend. We're not gonna be able to make some of the mistakes we made in Geelong last week, and we're not going to be able to give them extra base runners like we've done in the past. So we're hoping that we can give them everything that we've got, and that Sydney, Canberra's playing Sydney, and I don't think they like each other anyway, so that should be a Sydney may try to help us out a little bit too. So but we feel good about it. We feel good. We had a good series over in Geelong last weekend. The bats kind of came alive a little bit we hadn't seen in a few weeks, and we're looking forward to it. It's like this is what baseball's all about. You got a 1-game lead, you got 4 left, and how can you finish up the season?
Well, one of the things you're going to also have to overcome, Steve, is the fact that you do lose a couple of key players because of commitments to other leagues and other national jobs throughout the world.
Yeah, yeah. Sue Lin and Wang. Wang's been one of our better starters all year long, and obviously Sue Lin, ex big league player. That's kind of he's helped us in every aspect. I mean, on the field, with our young players, with just the team aspect of what we've been trying to do, and putting them on a plane yesterday was a little tough. Not going to lie. They wanted to stay, but the commitments that they had with Taiwan and the WBC, they had to, honor that. And but we appreciate everything that they gave us this year. The stuff that they did for our team, and we wish them all the best for sure.
So, what have you done to fill those holes? Have you been able to?
Yeah, we brought in Greg Cullen. We were kind of planning for Sue. We had brought him in, and then we'll mix and match our pitching together to fill that starting hole. And once we start the playoffs, it's 3-game series instead of 4. So in that aspect, you kind of cut out one spot anyway, and we'll put as many arms on the roster this week as we can, and we'll probably do lighter with the position player side and try to use our development players this weekend for for pinch run-ins and things like that. But the stuff that myself and the coaching staff that we've talked about, and how to try to combat a heavy left-handed lineup that Brisbane has this weekend, and then also playing at our ballpark, because our ballpark and Brisbane's ballpark are night and day as far as like how the ball travels, ground balls, different things like that. So we feel a little bit of an advantage having them here in our home ballpark, because we feel like we can stop some of the things that they do well at their ballpark.
Probably would have been more helpful if you're allowed to practice on it too, I would imagine, going into it.
Man, I tell you, that's a heartbreak thing, man. And it has. I mean, Regan Wood, Dale. I mean, all of us. It has just been. Even Regan, because we had training set up for this morning at 9 o'clock, and Regan came in to my flat last night. He's like, "Don't get upset. Just let me tell you what's going on." And I was like, "I'm over it." I said, "We'll go to Central. We're going to get our training in." And they hadn't done anything to our field since we played the last game 10, 11 days ago. They hadn't drug it. They hadn't done anything. They cut the grass, but they do nothing for us to be able to help us to get ready. I mean, it's a professional organization, and you pay money to get on a field, and you can't do it. It is very frustrating for myself, and then for the players also. We had a schedule in place, and then last night at 9 o'clock, I'm switching it to another place, and that's been all year long, because those people over there, they won't allow us to get on there and train, and it's very, very frustrating, no doubt.
What about some of the Kiwi talent getting back to the team itself? The Kiwi lads,
Yep.
how have they progressed throughout the season for you, Steve?
Man, I tell you, Campbell and Matthews have been huge, and then the arms out of our bullpens. Ben Thompson threw 3 huge innings on Sunday. Gleason pitched in a couple of games. Elliott Johnston has done well. We're just we're happy with the contributions that they've made, and we told them early, we can't win without y'all. We need you on the team. We need y'all to be productive, and they have, and they've grown. They've gotten better. The ones that are affiliated, Johnston, Campbell, and Matthews, they'll finish up here, and then they'll get ready to go to spring training, by the end of February. And then we're trying to find independent ball jobs for the other Kiwis that we need to be able to pitch, because they need to keep throwing this summer. They need to stay prepared for the next WBC qualifier. Like myself, I'm always forethinking, a couple years down the road, and how we can continue building New Zealand baseball and keeping these guys ready and get qualified for that WBC with these young players that we have. So we continue to look and push, and then how can we get the ones that are ready to go to college, into the States? Like, how can we get them into colleges, in a timely manner when they're ready to go? So we're always thinking about those things, continuing to build, baseball here in New Zealand. And that's why we started this journey, 5 years ago when we put the Tuatara in place, and so these Kiwi players are so vital to the young ones looking, and hey, I've got an avenue to do something else. I've got an avenue to play with the Tuatara one day, and so we take those things very seriously.
Steve, what about the profile? I mean, obviously, a couple of years away due to the pandemic didn't help in terms of local input, but what about the profile of baseball? Are you happy with the way it's progressing in this country?
Yeah, I think with the things that we're doing at the grassroots level. I mean, 5 years ago, when I came here, and how far baseball's came just in that little bit by adding the Tuatara and having per se a top dog or whatever in the baseball world on the island. And just with Baseball New Zealand and what the Tuatara Pathways program's done, and being able to take, the 14s, 15s, 16s, under 20s to the States and doing this, and taking them to Australia to do this, and having those things in place, and then the WBC, and there's just more thought and processes around, how we're trying to get these younger kids better, to continue to grow baseball in New Zealand. And yes, but we can't stop. It's all the time. Like, we have to be thinking about the next thing, and how we're mentoring the coaches, and how we're teaching the kids, and are we doing it properly, and making sure that we're giving them the best chance to be successful in whatever they're doing. So happy with where we've come in 5 years, but also, like, understanding that this is a process, and we have to keep growing it. We have to keep putting people in place, and we have to spend the monies. We have to spend the money to continue to grow the sport, so that we give young Kiwi players the opportunity to pursue it, to pursue college, university, and then also to be able to dream of getting drafted or whatever by a professional team in the States. So, but we have to keep those dreams and goals alive, and continue to work towards those things.
So, Steve, this weekend, how will you look at it from an overall perspective? Because you only have to win one more game than Canberra to stay ahead of them. But how will those two individual series match up? Because in terms of time, do you have an advantage there, or do you just have to go out and play your series and forget about the other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we have to take care of our business. We will have, I guess, one advantage. Canberra and them, they will start on Thursday, so there'll be a result Thursday night before we play on Friday. But I mean, in our mind, we're going to try to. I mean, if we win all 4 games, then it doesn't matter what Canberra does, But obviously, Thursday we'll know before we start playing on Friday. But we'll being ahead of the time, we'll start playing on Friday before they do. But I mean, you kind of scoreboard watch around this time of the year, no doubt. When we were in Geelong, we would check it when we were ahead, like, hey, what's Canberra doing, and but we have to concentrate on what we have to do, and we just feel confident that if we play our baseball, we play our style of baseball, that we're going to be in a position to win each game. And if we don't catch the ball and throw it, and we walk people, and we don't, get our hits when we need them, we're probably not going to win. So we'll focus on the main thing, and that's us trying to beat Brisbane each time that we play them. But we will definitely be having a look over there, because we'll probably be done with our games before they ever start their games over there, so we'll be able to watch some of it also.
So, Steve, with all the little hiccups along the way, the fact that you've had to deal with the powers that be about even getting access, etc. The other little barrier set in place. What about Steve Mintz and the possibility of regardless of what happens this weekend, of you being back at the helm?
Yeah, not gonna lie, even the the big frustrations that we've had with the stadium this year. I mean, even talking with Regan, it makes you think, like, hey, is it even worth it to come back and continue to deal and have the frustrations, But the way I look at it, there's we have to get past that hurdle, whether whatever situation it is, But for myself, the things that I've seen, I want to continue to grow baseball in New Zealand. And I have even spoke with Regan and some other people about like what other things can I do like throughout the summer to try to work with our affiliated guys to get independent ball guys to use the networks and things that we have in the States with myself and DJ Carrasco and Turtle Thomas and lining up ways that we can get kids into these colleges quicker. I have given those thoughts to the people around here. So I'm really hoping that I get to continue to help grow this thing in New Zealand, and continue to come back and do the Tuatara. Like that's the plan, that's the goals when we set out, and we'll try to meet each one of these issues head on as we come to it. But I just feel like I've with the people, I mean, even yourself and the people that talk to me on a daily basis and put me on the radios and TVs, and they all, you can tell that there's a passion within the country that wants to continue to do it. And so that keeps me fueled, whether I can get on my stadium this week or not. I know baseball is headed in the right direction, and we have some people in place that can continue to help it. But I love building things, and when I took this opportunity 5 years ago, that was why I did it, to be able to grow and put this country on the map, as a baseball country also. So I hope that I can continue to do this stuff and come back and do the Tuatara and continue talking to you. I mean, yesterday morning I was on the phone at 2:00 in the morning here talking to my people back in the States, and they wanted to know the updates on the Tuatara and like how's it going and all those different things. So I love it. I love doing it. I love being able to continue to work in baseball and continue to come to New Zealand, and that's my plans.
Well, Steve, baseball in New Zealand wouldn't be the same without Steve Mintz. We thank you again for coming on the show this morning, and for you and your squad this weekend, all the very best. We'd love to see you make it through to those playoffs, man. So thank you for your time again.
Absolutely, and everybody that's listening, get out there to the stadium this weekend and back us as much as you can, and give us all the support they can this weekend, and we're going to try to do our part on the field.
Absolutely. We'll keep plugging it before the weekend on your behalf. Steve, thank you very much. Go well. Good luck.
Cheers, mate.